Maybe you think the idea of spirit guides is so much woo-woo nonsense, but even if you're open to the idea of spirit guides, what do you know about how to connect with them? And perhaps most importantly of all, what kind of help you could expect from them if you did? The ideas I'm going to share in this video are, as always, my opinion, which is based on my experience. It's not science, and nothing I'm about to say can be proven in a lab, but you can put them to the test for yourself and discover if your experience changes for the better. With all of that said, there'll be some good surprises in this video and maybe even some welcome news you weren't expecting. Stick with me for the next 10 minutes or so and prepare for some nice surprises. Hi, I'm Trevor, and for much of the first half of my life, I felt as though I needed all the help I could get, especially when it came to the issues of money and love, so nothing major then. I found the idea of the law of attraction very seductive, and I studied it for many years, and inevitably, along the way, I came across the notion of spirit guides. It sounded great. Having a wise friend with a different perspective on my life was a welcome idea. But I was never sure if I was communicating with some mystical being from another dimension or just talking to myself, so I stopped trying for quite a long while. My path to eventual success and happiness, yes, including in the areas of money and love, came from my discovery and experiments with letting go. It turned out that manifesting the life of your dreams is effortless and easy, and I've written about that in a free ebook called Let's Manifest a Ferrari, which you can get yourself a copy of by clicking on the link at the top of the description below this video. Over time, I came to regard the idea of spirit guides differently. In fact, I saw that one of the biggest misconceptions about spirit guides is that they are separate external beings, like some higher authority watching over us, who hand out nuggets of wisdom and guidance if we ask nicely. Here's a more useful perspective. Your spirit guides, far from being separate from you, are in fact an extension of your own wisdom, intuition, and higher awareness. Don't think of them as ethereal beings outside of yourself. Instead, imagine them as aspects of your own inner wisdom amplified. That simple, single shift in perspective has great power, because once you get that, it instantly removes the ridiculous notion that you need to earn or deserve guidance to receive it. This wisdom is always available to you, always has been, always will be, as long as you live. I know this perspective shift can be difficult for some people to get their head around, and I share that, but there's a simple reason. Let me explain. We all live in two worlds at once. There's the outside world of things, solid objects, other people, your goldfish, and so on. And then there's the inner world of thoughts and feelings, and even the dreams that can seem very real when you're asleep, and yet which no one else has shared. All of those create an experience of a very private inner world. In that inner world, we try to make sense of all our experiences. That includes not only the things and people that are definitely in the external world, but also our private questions about who and what we are. Am I a good person? Will people like me? And what is the right thing to do about such and such? And a million more questions we ask ourselves in an effort to do well, to get things right, to please others, and just to survive, both physically and mentally, not to mention emotionally. If you just stop to ponder all of that for a moment, you'll notice that as the background to both worlds is a great big gigantic mystery, so big that even an elephant in the room would leave to make room for it. It's that when it comes down to it, we don't know how or any of it got here or how it works. Yes, we can talk about evolution, we can talk about the Big Bang Theory, and we can talk about quantum physics if you like, but none of that even begins to explain how we can talk at all, or why we want answers to those questions. I've said elsewhere that it boggles my mind that flowers can't exist without bees, and bees couldn't exist without flowers. So how come they turned up in evolution at the same time? How does your body know to turn fingernail cells into more fingernail and not eyelash? I could go on, but in the interest of time, I hope you can see my point, that there appears to be a design. If flowers could talk, let's imagine they'd have asked, how can I survive? I can't procreate. And the universe invented bees. Of course, that's stupidly simplistic, but I'm also imagining that the flowers in my story wouldn't have come up with the bee idea on their own. I'm not going to give a name to whatever it is that seems to run the show, or I'll get into deep water over religious ideas and all kinds of connotations. For now, suffice it to say that you don't have to believe in any kind of deity to observe that there are things happening that are nothing to do with us, and there appears to be some kind of natural order that keeps the gears oiled and the wheels turning. It's the natural wisdom of that you tap into when you communicate with your spirit guides. To bring this back to more relatable reality, like yours and mine, the point is, we look for help when we're stuck, right? Most of the time, we like to feel we're running our life. It's okay, I've got this handled, we smugly tell ourselves. But life can throw you a curved ball at any time. Things change, people get sick, people lose their jobs, people lose their money, relationships end, new ones show up unexpectedly, opportunities arise that can create terrible dilemmas, and so on and on. At those times, we need help, and that's when we could use a spirit guide. So how do you communicate with them, and how do you get answers? Well, the first thing to say is stop trying to hear them. Since you now know this is your own inner wisdom you're drawing on, it's not going to be a voice you hear in your ear. At least, not for most of us, it isn't. Of course, as always, and if you're a regular visitor to my channel, you'll know what I'm about to say, to hear your guidance, first and foremost, you have to relax and let go. An idea may well pop into your head seemingly out of nowhere. Something new will occur to you. That's because you're tuning into the frequency of clarity rather than struggling to force it. The key takeaway here is that guidance doesn't need to come in a dramatic, supernatural way. It often appears as a gut feeling, a sudden sense of certainty, or an idea that pops into your mind seemingly out of nowhere. If you're looking for guidance but struggling to hear anything, stop waiting for words and start noticing feelings instead. It's your spirit and your guidance you're tuning into, and it's always available. So why do some people struggle to make the connection? The answer is simple. Distraction. We live in an endless age of noise. Constant social media, news cycles, notifications, and external input pulling us in 100 directions. The more you're bombarded with outside opinions, the harder it is to hear your own inner voice. Beyond that, many of us have been conditioned to seek external validation before making decisions. We second-guess ourselves, look for approval, and hesitate to trust our own instincts. But your inner guidance doesn't shout, it whispers. And when your mind is cluttered with the noise of the world, it becomes difficult to recognize that whisper when it comes. If you feel blocked, try stepping away from distractions for a while. Spend more time in quiet reflection, whether that's through meditation, a walk in nature, or simply unplugging for a bit. The less external noise you allow in, the easier it becomes to hear what's already within. So, do you need a spiritual practice for this to work in your life? The short answer, no, but it helps. A structured spiritual practice, whether that's meditation, journaling, breath work, or just sitting in silence for a few minutes each day, can be a powerful way to cultivate the space necessary for guidance to emerge. Think of it like having a regular appointment with yourself. When you consistently carve out time to listen, your ability to receive guidance naturally strengthens over time. But here's an important distinction. This is not about rituals, techniques, or proving yourself worthy of guidance. You don't need to light candles, burn incense, or chant special phrases, unless, of course, you genuinely enjoy those things. The real value of a practice is simply in making space. You're not doing it to earn guidance. You're doing it to clear the mental clutter that often drowns it out. So, what kind of help can you expect? What exactly can spirit guides help with? The answer? Pretty much anything. But here's the catch. You have to be willing to ask. Many people wait passively for guidance to appear, but just like in everyday life, clarity often comes when you engage with the process. If you need help, be specific about what you're looking for, whether it's guidance on a decision, support for an upcoming challenge, or clarity on your next steps. That said, don't expect guidance to come in the form of an explicit roadmap. It's more likely to show up as a sudden realization, a shift in perspective, or a series of synchronistic events nudging you in the right direction. Stay open to these subtle cues, and you'll start noticing that guidance is happening all the time. It's just not always packaged in the way you expect. How do you know if it's real guidance or just your own thoughts? One of the biggest challenges is learning how to tell the difference between genuine guidance and everyday mental chatter. Well, there's a very simple test. How does it feel? Real guidance doesn't feel anxious, forced, or urgent. It feels calm, clear, and natural, like a quiet knowing rather than a desperate grasp for answers. If the message you're receiving feels panicked, desperate, or overwhelming, it's likely just mental noise. On the other hand, if it feels expansive, peaceful, or like a sudden moment of clarity, you're probably on the right track. It can take a bit of practice to tune into this higher guidance, but really, it's more a case of tuning the mental noise that we're so used to listening to all the time out. At the end of the day, connecting with your spirit guides isn't about summoning mystical beings or performing elaborate rituals. It's about tuning in to what's already within you, your own wisdom, intuition, and highest self. The more you trust in this process, the more effortlessly guidance grows. So, instead of looking outward for answers, try turning inward. You might be surprised at just how much clarity you already have. My free ebook isn't about spirit guides as such, but it will help with the matter of listening inwardly, and it's free, so why not help yourself to a copy? It's just a matter of clicking the link at the top of the description. One final thought. When I was immersed in studying the law of attraction, I would often find myself embroiled in conversations about such matters as whether the guides really existed or not, and if they did, what were they, why did they care, and so on. Eventually it came to me that it doesn't matter one jot. When you want answers or need help, it's right there, always, never fails. So why would anyone care whether it comes from an alien from the 14th dimension or shows up written on the back of a packet of potato crisps? Wisdom is wisdom. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you very soon in another video.